Good evening, everyone out there. Hello, how are you? Dadman Walking 55 coming to you with from the East Coast of the United States, right about 4 minutes after. A little bit of technical in the background, but hey, if I ain't Boomerang, it ain't me. So hey, good to see everybody tonight. Hope we have a lot of fun and that you are actually really have a good time with us tonight and enjoy what we have in store for you as I'm trying to fix my Twitch side. Yes, exactly. Nothing nothing like trying to deal with last second issues that pop up and creep up. But hey, with that all being said, hey, it's our normal Friday night back. We're having a little adjustments tonight. So you will obviously see tonight that our panel is not full of the class and grace and beauty tonight, but we've got a replacement for that tonight. But let me start here with the first guy here. The old regular of this, the captain who temporarily was an admiral at one point in his own universe and genre. It's the great JT Kirk. Howdy, JT.
Hail.
Yeah.
You know, the Federation pension retirement services take, the last three ranks you had to average, your pension out. So, the admiral thing, I'm glad to keep mentioning that. So that way they don't stiff me.
Well, that's why when people get that temporary promotion to supervisor, they love it. It's like, oh, cool. That's good. That is good. That is a good thing. Anything to pad that last 5 years, like in Florida.
Exactly.
Like you do it, and it just can't.
It's just enough. It's just enough, and that's all you need. That's all you need. So, yeah. Hail, good evening, and good evening to the chat. We're back with Buck Rogers. So we had last week off because of the holidays.
We already have 9 people with us tonight too. We've got 10 now. We actually got 10 on the YouTube side and 1 on Twitch right now. Thank you, everybody.
Yep, and some great familiar faces we're seeing there. It's great to see everybody keep coming back for more.
Exactly.
More punishment in the case of season 2, but hey,
Well, we will see what happens tonight.
We will see what happens tonight.
What happens to see tonight. I just love a Friday night for something like this and to have like now 12 people here with us. It's just astounding, really, really cool. Mm-hmm. Go out, bring everybody in, bring people other in, tell them about the show. We keep this going, and we got about 4 more weeks. And in 4 more weeks, we will have a night where we only have 1 episode. And I'm looking at that being a 1 episode review plus a final look back at the whole series with the whole gang here. So speaking of the whole gang here, it's the man, the myth, the legend himself. It's Hungry Boy. Hey, Hungry.
Hello.
Hey, good to see you tonight.
Oh, glad to be here. So, sorry, I'm a little bit late. StreamYard's problems, connection problems, new stupid MacBook that I've already bitched about 1,000 times problems.
I'm just worried about when I didn't see you on YouTube. I was like, Twitter. I'm like, holy crap! But hey,
yeah,
it's all good.
Oh,
it's all good. You're here. That's what counts tonight. So.
Okay.
I thought the darn blasted things just worked.
I hope you're getting paid by Apple for that.
No. Apple, what's that? It's everything that runs the world. Apple or Microsoft. Yeah.
I think the check is in the Federation mail service. So,
well
hello, computer.
I didn't believe in incompetent lizard people until number 1 tonight's 2nd episode and number 2 this MacBook. But yeah.
Wait, I thought lizard was about Facebook, not our friend Snorta Poopus, I think, keeps calling the guy the lizard. So, but hey,
yes,
it's too funny.
We got someone else knocking on the door, and then we got to say hi to the chat.
Exactly. All right, so.
I hope this does not bode for how the rest of the day goes.
No, I think it's actually going to be. Well, we'll see. Never judge a book by its cover. You know how these things go. They always do stuff.
New York had a bloody earthquake. Things are weird already.
Well, it was because of the Ghostbusters.
Oh.
No, somebody took a fart in the wrong direction and all went to hell. But hey, not to have this guy coming in following up on this, but listen, our great, glorious, beautiful, wonderful class act princess herself, the Duchess of Science Fiction, Daisy Blossom, is not with us for a few weeks. So what do? We go out, we round the streets for the mongrels, the pups, and go get the guys off the street here. But we got the golden retriever of the streets. We got the closer in Major League Baseball, the guy with the booming voice that makes women swoon everywhere. If we just had a few more women in the chat tonight, it's the guy, the man, the myth, the legend of Dave C. Dave.
Hello, how's everybody doing? I'm gonna have to change my title to the mongrel after that introduction, I guess.
Well, but hey, I ended up with, hey, you're the closer.
Since I don't have a lady, I'll just call myself the tramp, man.
Oh. How are you with us tonight, Dave C? Great to have you with us.
Doing great. I'm excited to be back as always. With this righteous,
hold on a second,
rompous crew.
Exactly. Let me say something real quick. Listen, thank you. I'm jumping everybody. Masters, it is so good to see you tonight. Yeah. Hey, I do not want that German wiped out and his friends. I want that in our chats giving me a hell of a hard time all the time. It is so good to see you up in there, my friend. It is so good. So we will get back to the chat in just a second. I wanted to not miss this, sir. Good to see you. Yeah, so much today. So, Dave, early on in this, you talked to me. You approached me, said how you love Buck Rogers and things like that. And we had already had the panel established. But I'm excited to have a chance to have an opening for you to come in to kind of help us keep going. How did you get introduced to Buck Rogers? Well, think about this, and I'll say hi to the chat. How did you get introduced to Buck Rogers, and what are your earliest memories of that? Well, you think on that while I go back to the chat. So, because
Wilma.
Well, Putin Cat already talked about how we can have how she gave up her career as a top fighter pilot, become a 50s. We talked about that the way season 2 started, didn't we, Hungry?
Yes. We probably had about if you add up every comment about it, there's probably an hour of us bitching about that.
And every week,
at least
this. I'll get into it later, but like again, this damn this week I kept waiting for her to say, "Can I take your order, please?"
Memories can include Ardala as well. They certainly do for me.
Absolutely. Welcome, Putin's Cat. Hi to Corey Cochran. Good to see you, sir. Mr. Angel, who's always out here keeping everybody in line. Good to see you. Dave C, who's Lopan, who's now here with the killer eyeballs. JT Kirk, who's here too. Snell Messiah, welcome.
Hello, Mighty Mollusk.
Hello, Mighty Mollusk.
Well
done. Well, now we need Citrus and Lisa to come in.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, all.
Hello.
I'm
not allowed to do foreign accents, but Corey is also on the Twitch side.
Especially Irish. None of the Irish for you, buddy.
I can't even. I'm not even.
You can't do the Irish.
English,
you
German,
tried
Spanish.
3 times. You can't do it.
I could do Antipodean. Good day, mate. Would you like another shrimp on the Barbie?
Yeah, like the first episode today wasn't painful enough. You got to run salt.
I got the polar bear here to protect me here. Hello, humans and other critters from the great Snortopoopas Q Burr. And yeah, Mr. Angel said Federation pension paid in Romulan L and Tribbles.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Well, are they hiring? Because I want some of that minimum wage.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Exactly.
Oh no, that's not your regular wage. That's just the pension. So you could live off of that. I mean, not very long, but hey,
and I'm going to say hello again, a special warm welcome to Masters tonight. And no, we didn't expect it another quiet night because it's usually always a rampaging massive chaos, and it's going to be even more chaotic with you here where you belong. So, and you are back and you came to conquer. Also, cool, awesome. I'm on the Twitch side also. Tell the Germans, wake up. So, and Mr. Angel, did I leave my earthquake machine on again? Yeah, you did. You freaked out the whole eastern seaboard today. It was crazy. I know the missus was live, and then somebody talked about it. then I saw that MLB had a morning show, and anyway, so all right, so he says to Mr. Angel, "Why did you place at Donnie's golf club? And under which hole is it?" So I come back on that.
Oh, Jesus.
Masters, it's personal. He's Martian revenge. All right. Well, we got 12 people here with us tonight. Thank you, everybody that's here. Dave, as Dave is the newest member, you guys, JT, are hungry. If y'all want to ask him a question or two, we're going to kind of deviate a little bit because we got a lot to go with these episodes. But I want Dave to have a chance to tell you and tell people in the chat about what he thinks with Buck Rogers and where he got. But I will just start with, like I asked you, Dave, what are your earliest memories? What got you into Buck? Why is it one of those franchises you were very interested in? Hello, Mrs. Yes.
Oh,
hello.
Mrs. is here.
Yes.
Well, being a sci-fi show right away, I guess that drew my first interest. The ships.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably mentioned that in the past with you guys, but the ships are so cool. I'm an original Battlestar Galactica fan.
Yes.
And Star Trek. So the ships, just the whole setup, but it was a little bit different because the setup was he came back to Earth and he wasn't out totally always out in space like Battlestar Galactica or Star Trek, right? Mm-hmm. So he had that going on, and then of course Wilma in that suit.
In the first season, that is.
Yeah. I mean, but it's all those crazy characters from the late 70s and 80s, like Ardala and the Tiger Man that I had mentioned before last time I was here. Remembering those kind of characters, and I'm still young, even for me. But yeah, I'm a sci-fi guy, so that was pretty much it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it that some of the episodes helped you along the road to starting puberty early, as with several of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're old enough to remember like Bo Derek and Raquel Welch and,
Sophia Loren.
Yeah, the original Wonder Woman.
Do you sing every woman's
Linda
name?
Carter.
It depends on how they look.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So what would Lizzo sound like then?
Oh, Lizzo.
Lizzo, a dude.
Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. Oh, well, it overpowered me. Sorry. Jade, yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I know that's one thing how all the different sci-fis, and what's interesting from a lot that I've heard Hungry describe and others have described, that it's like the second season of Buck Rogers took a right turn into New Jersey. That's for you, Wes Cagle. And it became it tried to be a Star Trek clone in a lot of ways.
Plus a bit of Lost in Space original. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And Lost in Space was another one I always watched, with the robot and Dr.
Smith.
Help me out. What's his name? The
Dr.
crazy
Smith.
one who's always trying to sabotage everything.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah. That guy.
Dr. Smith.
Jonathan Harris played Dr. Smith.
Or as I call it, the 14th Doctor.
Nice. That's a good one.
The original Dr. Smith in the TARDIS would be easier to take than what's going on now with Doctor Who. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't want to derail the show with
No.
with Hungry.
Buck Rogers / Squirrel show.
Yeah.
Hey, look at what Masters is saying here. Masters is telling you, Hungry, if Dadman comes to visit you and tries to be nice at the airport by saying Gadanya, he will find out that foreign aliens actually end up on a small fair.
Yeah.
What is that called? Tasmania? Or something?
No, that's actually called Christmas Island. We have a place for detainment for naughty people who try to come in by let's say slightly less than legitimate means.
That is,
and it's an actual island called Christmas Island, and it used to, until the island got sick with a certain type of ant that was wrongfully imported by accident. Used to have huge migrations of land crabs the size of a dinner plate that would climb up trees, etc. There'd be thousands of them. These beautiful red crabs. So yeah, it's kind of a deterrent.
It's not Christmas every day. It's not Christmas morning.
Silent have a bunch
now let me ask you: would you at least help a poor alien like Mr. Angel alone? At least put poster of Princess Ardella up on the island for them?
Yes, indeed. And I would help. Masters and Mr. A cook them crabs into a fantastic bisque.
I wonder if
Chowder.
Mr. Angel is talking about a pinup of Miss Ardella.
Yeah,
might
that's
be
what
a
I'm
lead
saying.
in.
Hungry's talking about
in.
Hungry's talking about crabs. I'm talking about giving a guy some entertainment on an island by themselves.
Oh, there's plenty of crabs in Hollywood. Don't get me wrong. But that's another story.
Well, yeah.
I'm talking. Okay, we really went all over the place on that one, folks. If you can help me out by sharing the stream out, share it in all your circles. We only need 2 more subs for 610, but hey, what's important is we got 13 great people here tonight. 12 on YouTube, 1 on the Twitch side. Follow me on Twitch. Hit that like, subscribe here on the YouTube side. Double check your subscriptions because they go away a lot of times. So, are we ready to? Well, Dave, wait a second. Don't you have a little surprise? We decided. I know Hungry ended up coming in, but let's talk about this because we can show it again in a few weeks. Dave had a little surprise tonight.
Yeah, did you want to do it now or after
let's
the
do it.
reviews?
No, let's do it now. Let's do it right now while we got people.
So I had forgot that I had for the comic book people, Hungry, JT, I know you're getting into it. I forgot I had this in queue on a place that I buy some comics every now and then. And so I said, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and get this. So
fantastic. Full screen.
If you can actually see how huge this is.
Yeah. It'll make you solo layout.
Yeah. So there's our dollar for Mr. Angel. There you go. I haven't even opened this, so we're gonna open it up here for everybody.
Oh wow!
All right.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I love the Gojira in the background.
Ditto.
Oh, you're right. You saw that? Oh, nice.
Yeah, actually, Dave had Gojira.
I got that today.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
Well, don't you? There was a late night squirrel stream or something. Dave had Gojira up on the camera with us. So
yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna open this, and there we go. Wow. Okay, it's heavy. It's nice. 1979.
Oh,
cast. I forget which way to do this. Sorry, everybody. I mean, it's
very nice.
It's nice.
Very nice.
Does it? Hey, does it have the readings? The read off the opening line, like the year was 1987. Does it? Does it have that?
It does.
Hey, just read it. Read it for us real quick.
All right. Let's see. The year is 1979. A father company's. Oh no. That's not the intro for the show. It's just a synopsis. Sorry.
Well, I will. Either way, I was going to see if we could do it where, because my point is, you would be better than the season 2 intro guy. Jeez.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
He's a famous voice, I know, but it was like it just didn't fit after canon.
JT, blow that out of the water.
Oh hell yeah, JT.
Yeah, especially because you have to have a deep voice. Because the first guy was Conrad, who used to be Jake and the Fat Man.
William Conrad, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that guy's just got an iconic voice, and he sounded, growly and tough and serious and gravid and everything you want. And geez.
Well, Glenn A. Larson said, friggin' hey, hold my beer, and it doubled down and did it even worse with friggin' Tweaky.
You beat me to the joke, man. I mean, I think the second episode tonight is the last of the new Tweaky guy. I think we go back to Mel Blanc after this.
Good.
I'm sorry, Dave C had to put up with 2 episodes with new Tweaky, which is worse.
That's in my notes, Tweaky? Man. You already know I put it in there.
All right. Well, let's. Well, Dave, thank you.
So there's no ads or anything in this, just to let you know, and it's.
Is that normal comic book size or folio size?
Oh no, this is Time Life size.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
It's a giant movie edition. 64 pages, no ads.
So what in the indicia? When was it published? It should say in the indicia at the bottom of the first or second page.
I'm gonna have to get my old man glasses out here.
Oh
live.
No, never mind. That's a stupid geeky question. Never mind. That's like an uber geek question.
79.
79. Wow.
Yeah, and it's in good shape. I mean, it's in color. It's nice. I'll go through it later for maybe the next show.
It's just don't manhandle it too much. It's an incredible condition and it's beautiful and.
I know. I almost bought the tape on the cover there just for a second.
That's a big.
Sorry about that, Dadman. I thought that was the.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
I hadn't opened it and I hadn't even looked at it. So,
John, John Ashley, because Mr. Angel had actually asked a question. It wasn't the same guy who did the A-Team intro, who did this on second season. John Ashley did the A-Team announcer. I didn't think it was, though. That's the thing, is I don't think that he was the announcer in the second season of Buck Rogers.
I have to cross-reference the IMDb because that's not the kind of information I'd always have at the top of my head. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Take him off full screen.
Oh, well, everybody prefers looking at
man.
Dave, though.
No, you can leave me on. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, he likes the attention. Sorry, thank you. I was trying to do research in the background. That's what happened. I'll look. I'll see if I can find that, because there was a name of who. Let me see. We might be able to find it, because there was a new announcer.
Are you trying to figure out that he did a different show narrating?
No, yeah, because that was the voice for A-Team, and I'm trying to find out who did it for the second season here for Buck Rogers. But anyway, I'll keep looking at it. I'll try to get back with you an answer on that. So while we do that, Master said to you, seeing our dollar, thank you so much, my man. I thought I am dead, but no, I see certain parts are still moving upwards to be alive and kicking.
Yeah. Not too many pictures of her, but
hey, we're a fully integrated, full functioning family streamers, you know. We're in a small house. Everybody crashes everybody else's streams all the time. Now it's funny that the Ang's crashing ours all the time. Well, let's kick off this now in season 2 for episode 5, called The Guardians. It's the 29th episode. Written by, directed by Jack Arnold, written by Paul Schneider and Margaret Schneider. First air date January 29, 1981, episode 55915. And this is how crappy and how little there is nowadays, because we're getting shorter and shorter in the descriptions. The life is bored. The searchers turn upside down when Buck brings aboard a mysterious jade box entrusted to him by a dying man he encounters on an unexplored planet. The seemingly cursed box takes over the ship, torments the lives of the crew by filling their minds with terrible visions. Conflicts arise when members of the crew try to destroy the box, but Buck stops them, believing it's leading them to its new keeper, a being only known as the Guardian, and he must fulfill his promise to the dying man. Now, this is another thing I've noticed in season 2. Remember, first season we had great power cameos and stuff. Even the great Hollywood Henderson from Dallas Cowboys, it might be in one scene. This stars as Harry Towns as the Guardian, Rosemary DeCamp as Buck's mother, Paul Carr as Lieutenant Devon, Barbara Luna as Corey. She makes an appearance back as one of those visions. Sean Stevens as Boy. Dennis Haysbert, your Allstate insurance guy. Jobu, our Serrano from Major League. Dennis Haysbert as a helmsman. Vic Perrin as the first Guardian, and Howard Culver as mailman. All right. Basically,
I thought Carl Malone was the mailman.
Yeah, he's a better mailman than what we had in this episode. This one kind of fell flat. Left the package at the office. But oh gosh, let's see. You're definitely rocking up, Masters. Good to see you tonight. The Guardian of the first 5 minutes of the episode. Well, and that's what we have. We have it starts. Hawk and Buck are on a planet, kind of exploring it, and it really was weird the way it happened, because one minute they're, we're coming back and all this, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bright lights. It's like Florida weather, except it was dusty. All of a sudden, this big windstorm comes up, and suddenly they can't go anywhere. They got to camp for the night, and it looks like it's still 2:00 in the afternoon. So then they go to find a shelter. They go in the cave. They find the tomb. They find the man there, who then turns over the box. Then we end up seeing them. Then we see Buck and Hawk resting for the night, and Buck touches the box and starts to have a dream, a flashback to the day before his launch that went wrong. His mom there trying to tell him about, pride, and worried about the accident.
There's a lot wrong with that.
Okay, well we'll explain that. So, and then as the box gets up on the ship, everybody starts taking turns having things. Hawk thinks of Corey. Wilma goes blind because all the events are happening. One guy feels desperate, like destroy the box because his fiance's gone. Then and you got Doctor whatever his name just being silly, but he's not as bad this episode. And the Admiral launches the box out into space just to return right to the bridge. It was Captain Kirk on the con. And then they finally said, okay, and it started showing how when the Admiral's dream showed everybody dying, well, what it was that they kept changing course. They were fighting the path that they were supposed to go, so they would all starve to death. So everybody started getting their visions revealed to them over time. They make it to the planet. They go down there. There's a gimpy guy walking around who starts to go away. Then magically there's an earthquake. The box falls down. Dude boy falls down in there and says, let me go, jumps down. And then magically the box, dude boy is now the new guardian up there with a box in his hand, and everything goes back to normal. Everybody's healed and restored. So that's I felt like an Alamarine out of this, but hey. All right. So
there we
that
go.
That is the summary, guys. 13 of y'all here, and y'all did not leave after that. Thank you. Where do y'all? I mean, we can start at the beginning. We can start at where your show notes. We can go start at anywhere you want to with this one. I actually, I thought this one was kind of weird right out of the bat. Like I said, that opening scene, it's like the wind dust storm out of nowhere. Just like, and it looked, and then like we got a camp for the night, but it's like it looked like it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I mean, what do y'all think of how it opened? Dave, if you want to start.
Well, it was like the wind machine. Okay, so it's a basic premise. They got to start with something to get the story going. So stranded on a planet. Ooh, wind kicks up. And then I thought like Gil Gerard and Christopher McGough were going to be like, can you turn it down a little? It's like they were really whipping him up. So Buck's hair was just like a mess the whole time, right? It was kind of funny, but it's a good premise to start off a show. I mean, you got to have something, and then they find
Hawk's hair looked like Jimmy Johnson. Hawk's looked like Jimmy Johnson. It didn't even move.
It didn't move. He didn't have to worry about it, but it was like and so they find the guy, and it was okay episode. It was a little, but. Some of it was just funny to me. Like I caught little nuances here and there. Like when Buck he took over the box from the guy, and I thought Hawk was going to be like, "Hey man, what the hell are you doing? Have you not watched any sci-fi shows before? You don't take the box from some, you know what I mean? You got to think about this." But I just jump right on. I'll take it, sure. And then nobody thinks to open it until later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Little weird. Nobody. Is that just me, or like it took a long time?
I don't know.
Is it just me? Like nobody wanted to open it until later.
See, I would be shying away from opening because usually you open things, bad things happen. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark. But JT, what'd you think there?
Yeah. It's very clear that they're trying to do like a Star Trek thing with Buck and make Buck be a weird kind of like Kirk, but still himself / Lost in Space kind of thing. So when you go down on an away mission, you either don't stray that far from your shuttlecraft, or you get a beam out, some way to escape.
Yeah.
And then you get a sandstorm that just comes in on you like that. And you're right. It looked like the way they had it lit that it was midday or afternoon. And we're going to have to find some place to stay for the night.
From wind. They need to find shelter from a strong wind. Okay.
Yes.
I live in cyclone country. No. Keep going, JT, please.
So I thought that was just weak. I thought it was poorly written. They could have done better there. But hey, we're moving on. This old man. Here, take this box. The Guardian, and like I said in chat, the Guardian of the first 5 minutes of the episode. Why are you calling him the Guardian? Come on now. People have seen Star Trek by this time. Whatever.
Yeah.
I would have never taken that box. I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care. Even if you gave me 1,000 bars of gold press platinum, because I'm James T. Rogers here, or Buck T. Kirk, whatever you want to call it. I'm not just taking this box. And the guy's just like, oh, here you go, Buck. No, I don't want any insurance. I don't have a bill of lading for you. Nothing. Just take the box.
Get Spock in the tricorder. Check it out.
Green glowing box.
I would say, okay, sure. Open it in front of me and tell me exactly where it has to go.
Get Spock in the tricorder. Check it out first.
Yes.
Well, Hawk and I are going to stand behind this big rock while you go ahead and open it.
You open it and your face melts with a giant blinding white light. Yeah.
Crichton is such an asshole. Get Crichton down in a shuttle, Crouton, and have him check out the box. Let him open the box. He thinks he's a new form of AI cybernetic life anyway. He thinks he's so superior to humans. Yes. So, I mean, they two birds, one stone. You find out what's in the box, you get rid of Crichton. It's fine. That'd be a better opening.
All right, Mr. Angel convinced me.
No, I like where you're going, man. This
okay.
is JT. This is exactly what I was thinking.
Go. All right. I like, Mr. Angel's talking my language. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then you get this thing back to the ship and you just kind of casually do whatever with it.
Just lay
You don't put it behind like a level 10 force field, or, you don't consider immediately returning it to the planet when you can't scan what's inside. Like, come on. There's obviously something dangerous for you to see if you can't scan inside the box. And you've got no idea. This whole, when the 14th Doctor reads like his lines very lazily about, oh yes, all these ancient cultures and all this BS. We need to blah 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 with the box. I'm like, no. This episode just started off very problematic for me, and it didn't come back. It just didn't come back. Now I will say at the very beginning, I don't know how far we're going into the episode, Dadman.
Yeah, we'll go as far as you guys want.
So the first flashback, I believe it was the first flashback where Buck wakes up and he's back at home, hanging out with his mom. I thought that was very strange. Most astronauts are not 18. Why are you back at home with your mom for 2 weeks? I thought he had a girlfriend. I thought he had a fiance or a wife and kids from the first season. Why is he hanging out with his mom for 2 weeks?
But never mind. I'll get to that one.
Okay. Well, maybe people have got something for that, but then
later. That's at the end.
That kind of freaked me out. I was like, okay, what's going on? But after I knew that it was a weird hallucination, all the other hallucinations after that, I'm like, okay, science fiction trope. We've seen this before and after this show. Hey, so I was like, all right, can we skip the hallucinations with every character on the crew and just get to the next act, please? So that was very stretched out to fill time. So I don't want to go into the end of the episode yet. So if Dave or Hungry would like to expound on this at all, go for it.
Hungry's on mute. You with us? Hungry. Yeah, he's muting. He went mutant on us.
Well, he's probably finding some, very strong Outback liquor to try to rescue this episode for him.
I'm trying.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, I'll quickly expand so he can come back and put his 10 cents in. Without beating a dead horse about this box, but that the whole thing of the show was the damn box, right? So it seems like we're being a little bit hard on it, but it could have been written into the timeline for the show that there's no security or safety or any freaking common sense at all. I mean, it could have been easily that they came back on the ship and Crichton was there to meet them, then scan it, and then move on. But like with Wilma later on, I won't spoil it, but just quickly after everything that happens to everybody else, what does she do? JT, Dadman, what does she do?
she goes full.
She picks up the damn box and goes walking off with it.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
she's going to take it to the lab after all of that.
Yeah.
I was
Did
like,
anyone else? Okay, so the whole Wilma Deering does the Raiders of the Lost Ark Yahtzee moment there.
Yep.
Did anyone else buy that she was ever anything like blinded by that?
Oh, geez.
No.
That was very poorly directed, and there are times. I mean, okay, so her eyesight has recovered a little bit. They get to the ruins by the end of the show, and she says, "Oh, it's so beautiful. How could you know that, lady? You can't see 10 feet in front of your face. Are you going to tell me you can see 100 feet away to see the structure of the walls in this place? You know,
Yeah.
and she's walking around and barely needing anyone to help her. She's avoiding items of furniture. I mean, look, I have had a blind uncle, and I have a nana who can not even watch television anymore. I know how much help people need, and Wilma did not need any help in this episode. So clearly it was like a slight case of glaucoma, if anything.
Well, see, I just heard Princess Leia in my head for my head canon, and she was wearing that mask from Return of the Jedi, and she was, telling Wilma, "Your eyesight will return in time." You know what I'm talking about?
And one of the what the F moments, and right on what Hungry said, I almost forgot about this. Was she's got the sunglasses on, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The Ray Charles
and before
maneuver.
they get to the planet,
she
runs. She's on the command deck, and she runs right to Sulu's spot and starts typing. And I'm like, what the hell are you?
That's pretty good muscle memory to be able to pick up on those buttons after losing your sight. I'm telling you, that was
you guys noticed that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? Who's, like you just said, who directed that? And you're like, okay, we're not going to do that part right there. That's a little too much. But nope, she just runs right over with nobody helping her, sits in the seat, and just starts going right at it. And I'm like, what the hell? I thought she was blind.
The continuity issues in this are rife. It's not as bad as what we reviewed last week. It's still better than the Oasis with ODX, but dang.
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
You had to bring up ODX again.
It's the only way I got through this episode. Remembering, okay, a broken leg is bad, but a triple migraine is worse.
But a blind person who can run off and start typing stuff on a command deck into the whole machine, it's just ridiculous.
Well, this is my major problem with the episode, which I had as a kid. I do remember enjoying it a bit. Well, not more than a bit more as a kid, but I mean, I was a kid. As an adult, I have major problems with the episode. You have to understand, I had over 3 years of religious classes in private school. Okay. So the moment we have the wind, then we hit the cave, then we see the old man, then we see the box, and there is a Magen David on the box. A Magen David. The same one that you see in Israel. And I'm like, Glenn, I know. And it's also got a modified Scorpio symbol from Earth astrology. I'm sitting there going, Glenn, I know you've got a fascination with religion, but aren't you really pushing it a bit far in this episode?
Well, that was kind of why I held back a little bit. That was kind of a little bit of a theme maybe there. The whole, I'm going to teach you a lesson type stuff, this show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I say that Wilma did her Raiders of the Lost Ark maneuver, because look at what's on the box.
I mean, it's so much. This is just an overview for the episode from my point of view, and there's so much stuff that is so directly overt. I mean, you have the lame shepherd who ends up being the innocent who is sacrificed and comes back from the dead. Glenn, we get it. We get it, Glenn.
But see, this whole season has become religious symbolatry and everything. And Emily Gangadine is here. Emily and Sammy.
Hey.
Emily, hello. But then you also, I mean, you have miracles going on, both good and bad. This is such an Old Testament story, and that the blind being healed. And technically, you have somebody coming back from the dead because of the fiance. That's all fixed up at the end. I mean,
there was some amazing grace there. You know, Wilma was blind, but now she sees.
Yes.
Well, can we talk
about? Thank you for the retweet out, folks. Thank you for retweeting it. Anybody else that has, but thank you, Snort. Go ahead.
Yeah, can we talk about that nice right hook that missed by 3 feet, but dropped Devin like a sack of wet rice?
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. The Last Jedi now tells us that's okay. You know.
Oh, she's just like,
hey, Wade, welcome.
Hello, Wade. So there was that. There was the aspects of how quickly things directly moved. You know, the vision questing thing, the seeing things in your sleep that might be real, and that was my other problem. Aside from the overt religious, I wouldn't say subtext. I'd call it hypertext, to draw a distinction. You have Buck being extraordinarily careless, but you also have things that just simply make no sense in regards to what all of these characters have already gone through in season 2, much less season 1. And I think the team of writers, the Schneiders, the man and wife team, they are not known for the smartest plots in the world. All right. And it's all about feeling versus plot. And you can have an episode that's completely about feeling, right? And you can do that in several different science fiction TV shows. But it felt very rushed. It felt that it was calling on different tropes. And it's like Deus Ex Machina times 2. Deus Machina cubed, if you will.
Quattro.
For people that don't know, that's God in the machine, right?
Yeah.
That's where the machine is God itself.
Well, it basically, in terms of writing, it means that the excuse is God saved you. And guess what? At the end of this, the representatives of what we might call God bringing, a balanced universe, protecting us from great evils, catastrophes, etc. We have them by the end of the show, we've got them all lined up like the bloody apostles.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
I thought it was weird there was 10 and not 12.
Yeah, that may have been a bit too much. I think amazingly, Glenn pulls back on that one, but not the Magen David on the Ark of the Covenant, by the way. The Ark of the Covenant made of cheap plastic fake green jade. And they actually mention it's a type of jade. They actually mentioned that in the episode. And I mean, look, I don't care how many hundreds of years in the future you go. You don't open the Ark of the Covenant. You never open the Ark of the Covenant.
And then I guess like JT, I think you might have getting ready to say that before the Guardians had lined up. They kind of lined the Buck and Wilma. They all lined up to explain what I was holding off for. That this is the teaching you a lesson part where they said, and I was blind or something because I did sin. Or not, she didn't say sin because I did this. And Buck said something because So they had to explain it to us that's what was really going on.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which is like a parable.
It was like when all three went to reveal their lesson that they learned.
Exactly. That's why I was holding off. Yeah.
It was just kind of weird the way that kind of flowed out. It was like, It's like when everybody adds on to, when somebody says this happened to me, and then everybody said, that happened to me too. Yeah, so it was just weird. It felt weird.
Forced.
Somebody said cringe earlier in the chat.
Yeah.
Dadman, if I may, I'd like to ask the panel a question on what they think on a certain element here. The backstory about the Guardians in this whole Ark of the Covenant, the rules behind this were you get to be in this special position for a year, and then someone else has to take it over. And if somehow they don't get the Ark of the Covenant, then all the bad things that have ever happened to humanity end up happening. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are about that, because I have my own, but I was curious on other people's takes. And feel free to eviscerate.
Well, I want Hungry to go first. Let's see where Hungry goes with that first.
Well, I mean, they say that these cycles happen around every 6,000 years. And then they change that because then they start listing other things that were only centuries apart, and that's a continuity issue. And then we've got the timing of who takes over as the Guardian, and none of this math adds up properly. None of it. And that irritated me a little bit as a kid, but it irritated me more as an adult. And it just seems like they were rushing along the exposition part, the explanation part, to get to the parts that they thought were fun and spooky. But still, I don't have much to say, JT, on this, because it's just so frustrating, because some of us can't stand it was all a dream, or none of it was real, it was all a test bullshit in science fiction. And we've seen that in too many shows, even before this, and many shows afterwards. And so I'm lobbing the ball over to Dave C. Catch the ball and run, man.
Okay, you ready for my take on this? I just came up with it. So the Guardians apparently have an internship, right? And I'm like, okay, as Dadman called the one guy the gimpy one. So I'm thinking, well, that guy was at the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
So what happened that this Guardian was stranded on a planet that just happened to have this like a lot of wind? He's old, but like, where's his intern? Are they just, I mean, did it make sense to you all that they would just...
You would have thought they would have had a calendar and like them crossing off the days until they had to like transfer it, and then maybe know where that guy is.
Thank you. Maybe like the guys just left. They just stared. He could have just said, "Man, they left my ass here."
Well, he said he'd been there for centuries. He said he'd been there for centuries.
For centuries, but when the end is near, then I guess the intern wasn't around. Right? He was off getting coffee or something.
Oh, no. They were on strike.
Right. They were on strike to get more minimum wage. Yeah. Well, I mean, and again, it seems like we're being hard on the show, but they kind of deserve it a little bit, right? Like you had said, the directing, the writing, directing's like, hey, maybe we change something up a little bit more common sense. Because at the end, you do have this intern guy, and that's what he was. He wasn't a Guardian, which I thought he was, by the way. I was like, oh, that's a Guardian. You could read that going a mile away, but I was wrong. He was the intern.
But all of this really relies on so much, I hate to say this, quasi-psychic phenomena, because, I mean, has this guy waited centuries to figure out Buck was born and summon him? Is it all on instinct? Is it the great unknown force in the sky, shall we say, that chooses Buck and brings him to the planet with so much strong wind he has to find a cave with his friend Hawk? I mean, it's one accident in quotation marks leading to another accident in quotation marks, and then we find out it was all in the grand plan in quotation marks, and with no math involved whatsoever. And yeah, so the internship, as you put it, bothered the crap out of me.
Yeah, I didn't really catch on until JT just kind of made me click on that one, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. But Putin's cat had a great question about the box. Was the devil in there, or are they just guarding it?
Yeah,
and they don't really.
That was interesting. Yeah. Boxes are never really good things, Boxes always been things of mystery that always
you should tell that to J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
no, the mystery box. Yeah,
I'd tell it to Pandora, but that's another situation for another time.
Exactly. Who here didn't think that this was going to lead into that? All right, like a more Pandora. There's going to be some disease, and Buck would have to say
that would have made a better story, honestly.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Too expensive for Glenn A. Larson, though.
Sure.
So,
Dadman,
you want to handle that? Putin's cat question again? Was it evil?
Was the box evil? No. Well, we kind of had that selective moralism, though. Kind of like the end of season 1, where the people said, "We need you to fight for us, but we're not going to let you go." It was kind of sort of good, but sort of bad, because it was unethical way it was done. And the box did the same thing. Was we're going to kill you if you don't take us to where we want to go. So,
but Doctor Who said that he didn't believe the box had evil intentions or evil designs. But we have no way of validating that one way or the other.
Evaluating that.
Yes.
It's never really explained, I think, right? You just kind of have to come up with your own conclusion. It's not, I don't think, would you guys say that it wasn't evil?
No, I looked at it as a very
it wasn't
severe,
really explained.
It was a very severe litmus test using very, very corrosive acid. You know, if you're dumb enough to put your hand in the acid, you're going to lose your hand. If you're dumb enough to put your hand in the acid without a protective glove, you're going to lose your hand. It's assuming pre-knowledge. It's assuming an expectation of responsibility. It's not taking into account the fact that a toddler walking by the box would go, "Ooh, pretty box," and open up the box as any toddler would.
Or you could put your hand in the box and experience pain, and if you pull your hand out, then you die.
Like Flash. Flash Gordon.
Yes.
Exactly. So,
Dadman, what did you interpret? What did you interpret about the whole thing?
About the box
itself, the lore of the Guardians and the relation and how it related to the box?
Probably about what y'all thought. I mean, really, it's just it was just. I mean, to me, it was a box. I actually was slow to connect it all together. Yeah, to me, it was just. I did not realize that stayed with the Guardian and traveled with the Guardian. I sometimes I'm slow to make those connections, and that's why sometimes I struggle with some of these things, because sometimes it's just keep it simple. Give me a good story, keep it simple, and then it's like, and then now you have to infer these things, like the whole thing of the reveal of, well, this was my pride, this was my what, and like, why did we need all that crap? You know, because in the end, I'm still mad at the box because they act like these benevolent guardians to protect everybody, but they were going to kill all of y'all if y'all didn't do what they wanted you to do.
Or so worse, just maim them and leave them alive, like Wilma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
or starvation. Starvation's a horrible way to go,
especially in bad makeup.
Yeah, and that's why they use the mask. Yes. Well, not like the masks from the other episode, right? But yeah, I think that's why they used the mom. Was that you, JT? We're talking about the mom instead of the wife and stuff, because the mom figure was more of the teach you the lesson person, right? So that's why I waited to the end.
Okay.
And I kind of made that connection once you had brought that up. I was like, oh damn, he's right. That's why they did the mom instead of the other people, really.
Well, that's the
other
thing.
Very well. I become more powerful. Strike me down.
It could also be they could not get the actress who played Buck's girlfriend in season 1 to come back. She was busy by that time.
But but even if you didn't show her, you put him in a dorm. You don't have him at mom the day before the launch. You know, at that point you're readjusting to space. You know, you're going through all the flight preps, and even back there in the 70s, they had ways and things to do it. There were certain ways you do things. Being at home with mom and apple pie was just off the chain kind of dumb. It just truly was. And you just, you just shake your head and but you just go with it. Was it the worst? No, but it just seemed disjointed.
I was trying to take a different take than I think the rest of the panel did on this. I was trying to tie what the Ark of the Covenant and the power of the Guardians and the relation to humanity was, because it was obviously a religious episode. I was trying to figure out what this lore was all about, and do the Guardians have power because of the Ark of the Covenant, or do they have power on their own? Why do they need this? That's never explained. Yep. But whatever symbology this ark held, it was somehow, if the Guardians have it in their possession, good things happen. If they don't, humanity receives wrath in bad things. So I was trying to wonder who has agency in any of this. Do the Guardians have agency? Does humanity have agency? Do humans even have free will at this point? Or are they purely at the whim of the Guardians in how society is led? it was so incredibly messy from a religious and philosophical standpoint that I'm like, okay, this isn't Catholicism, this isn't Judaism, it's not Calvinism. Where are you going with all this? And it was just so messy for me that I think it confuses everybody, and you end up just sitting there waiting to the last 5 minutes for it all to come together, because that middle portion where they have, you know, Doctor Who needs to go back in the TARDIS and, you know, fix this whole thing,
and
says a bunch of stuff.
Yes. Change his cardigan.
Change his cardigan.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to go like sci-fi horror and have everybody relive their worst nightmares, you know, which is a sci-fi trope with this. It'd be another thing to try to turn it into a Pandora's Box episode, but it doesn't do either one of those.
If it had gone Greek with Pandora's Box, which is a Greek myth for everyone who doesn't know, and it's one of the oldest stories about, you don't touch this, do not press the red button, you know, and you press the red button and bad things happen. If they had gone with a Greek motif, which also would have allowed it to be a lot sexier episode, by the way, then I would have been fine with it. Or if they had been a bit more consistent, and as you're putting it, the episode, JT, is incredibly self-contradictory. And it is setting up rules for itself, then breaking those rules and breaking the new rules. And it's like, all right, you're going 100 miles an hour in 3 lanes here. Pick a lane, stick in it, stay. So I agree with you completely. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they could have done with this, because you can't juggle 3 chainsaws and 2 broken bottles at the same time.
Yeah, you can if you're Glenn A. Larson. You know, you can.
Oh, jeez. Dave, what do you think? Help us.
Yeah, you can.
Masters Maniac was wondering about my jersey. So I show him it was an Ireland rugby jersey. Sorry. Wasn't playing with myself.
Okay.
I had gone on the wrong side.
No, we were back on Christmas Island with that earlier. That was supposed to be the Ardala picture for Mr. Angel. So. Oh my gosh!
So,
all right. Well,
you know,
how long do you want to go with this episode? Go ahead. If you got other points, let's keep kicking around. But
I don't want to belabor this too much longer, Dadman, to tell you the truth.
Because it really was just a bunch of stupid. Why are we crash landing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a planet, then having to stay overnight? Then everybody's little side adventures in the middle to just get to the last 5 minutes, which is. The Earth splits like New Jersey. Boom, Gimp guy falls down, and now he's a god. You know, it really is. The episode comes down to something. I hate to simplify, but really, that's it. There's really not a lot here.
The voiceovers. Did you guys notice that at the down on the planet, especially when the earthquake hit, and then the voiceover editing was just really bad.
That happens a lot in Buck, but I mean, yeah, it's called ADR, automatic dialogue replacement, and we used to call that dubbing. And dubbing is generally, though, specific to when you're changing a language for a foreign film. But ADR is when there's no way to physically pick up the natural sound using a boom mic with the actors in the area. And so sometimes you got to use ADR, but this show sometimes does it well, and sometimes, we talked about it in season 1, sometimes it does it very badly, and this falls into the latter category. And just very quickly with JT, I fall in terms of preponderance, I fall on the side of free will, because the box is seeing how people will choose to act, and at the very end, we have Shepherd Lad making the choice to die rather than risk Buck's life. And so that was a personal sacrifice that caused him to be resurrected, by the way. And I'm pretty much done with this episode now.
No, Putin's cat, Wilma did not have the Sonic hat or roller skates this episode. So no.
She's wearing them high heels on the next one.
The one last thing I wanted to remark on this was, this is my Star Trek nerd coming out here. And I know Buck Rogers isn't hard science fiction like a Star Trek. We're going to figure out how many million miles a second your warp drive is going to take you, blah, 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 right? But they say things like we're accelerating at a certain rate, squared, and all this from the robot and all this. And then they say, oh, it's been this amount of time and we're going to run out of food and we're going to run out of fuel and it's going to take, and I could not keep track of any of it, which means it probably did not make sense.
Right. It did.
The way it was written.
We're going to get our grades in just a second. Hello, Citrus!
Hello, Citrus!
All right. Young Pie, how are you tonight? Good to see you. So
was the makeup worse than the masks from the Neanderthal guys?
No, because the masks were purchased. I've seen the ads for those. I've seen those exact troglodyte masks in Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine in 1979 and 1980. And they also, for that other episode, two of the skulls on the posts, by the way, in the ODX episode, were skull masks from the same company. So,
I keep thinking you're talking about some kind of sound system with ODX, but anyway.
Well, I was just thinking, oh my God,
should just
that
say
makeup,
Papa
man,
Smurf.
holy cow.
You should just say Papa Smurf. But anyway, I want to say this thing here because Putin's cat said what's really amazing. Glenn Larson got Battlestar Galactica on the air, got canceled. Buck Rogers on there, got canceled. But you know what? He also got Battlestar Galactica known in a movie called Space Mutiny.
Oh yes,
from South Africa, which used all the Battlestar Galactica footage.
And the Cylons and the sound effects from the guns.
Yes, exactly. So that's how talented the Glenn E. Larson was.
Dogs.
So, exactly. And Mr. Angel said rumors of Wilma wearing Sonic lingerie are highly exaggerated and pure rumor. The only footage off is definitely not in my private collection.
Oh no. Oh no.
All right. Shall we grade this and move on to the next one?
Yes, please.
All right. Dave, we kind of do grading and like however you want to do. If you want to play along, JT does his way of grading. Hungry does his. Daisy is a school teacher. I personally use boxes of popcorn up to 5. So JT, Kirk, go ahead. Tell us what you thought of this.
Oh, I thought you wanted Dave to go first.
No, I was explaining to Dave how. That way he can figure out how he wants to evaluate it. If he wants to do a letter, a number scale, or something, or witchcrafts. So.
Okay, I give this 4 commandments out of 10 because
wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it probably broke the other 6. I put it very slightly over ODX, and look, it did have competently executed.
Can y'all just start?
Visuals.
Can y'all do me a favor? Just start calling him
Papa Smurf.
Can y'all just start calling him Papa Smurf?
Okay.
Yeah, because I keep thinking of a sound system with ODX. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's not offensive in the way that Papa Smurf is offensive. Yeah. But it also wasn't very good, and I don't blame the people that did the sets or the costumes or any of that this week. Or the last episode. Sure, there was plenty to hate about that. This was all writing. And the producers, and what the hell were you guys doing? Yep. It needed to be sent back to the writer's room. It needs serious rewrite. And so I can't blame the actors even. And so the actors in the sets give it a 4 commandments out of 10.
4 commandments out of 10. Wow, that is very average. Well, it's actually below average. All right. That is interesting. All right. Hungry Boy, how would you grade this one on your normal scale?
Well, for this one, I'm going to use a new scale, the Tweaky scale. So out of 10 Tweakies, ODX got 0.5. This one gets a 1.5 to a 2 out of 10 Tweakies.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Slightly higher.
Wow. Yep. Not much higher, but slightly.
If we had thrown Ardala in the Ark of the Covenant and she popped out at the end.
7 Tweakies.
Okay. Just
No, but honestly, I do. Although I don't like what they did with the box, I like the construction of it. I like the lighting effects of it. Except at the very end, by the way, when they're holding the box at an up angle, right? And we look up and we can actually see the electrical circuitry plate on the bottom of the box, which visually I caught. So it's like, no, this is not a technological device, guys. You can't make it look like the underside of a microwave. Don't do that. Show a little care. But they didn't even bother to put a new jade plate on the bottom of the box. But yeah, it's really at most 2 tweakies, and that's just because you do have to reward for effort, even if all else fails. And they did put some effort into it.
Okay, well, that's good. And I do agree there was effort here. But let me say hi to Sci-Fi Mombi, who is also saying hi to Masters, who gives it a 10 out of 10. So, yes, I got you.
Oh, Masters.
Wow.
That's the way to be.
Gallows
You're
humor.
good.
Wow.
Hey, there you go. We love gallows humor. I tell you what, it's just so damn good to see him with us tonight, folks.
Yes,
Keep this man in your prayers, thoughts,
Indeed.
and everything, with all he's got going on. He's shared it too, and we love him, and he's been a great support to the channel here and to the missus. And just if you want to contact him via email, DM me or let me know, and I'll see about getting you connected. But hey, just really great to see him here tonight. So, and yes, echo what Sci-Fi Mombi said. So now the 24th president was in this one, right? Who was the 24th president?
I gotta look that up. I don't know him by number.
Well, look at that, and we'll go ahead. Mr. Angel gives it.
Cleveland.
Could be. Mr. Angel said, if I had to give this a rating, Hokie, a 18.5 on the Richter scale earthquake while getting hit by a class 9 tornado. Okay.
Nice.
All right, Dave. So do you know how we do it? But we got 17 people here now. Thank you, everybody.
I got a rating scale in mind now. So I'm desperately trying to give it like a 5 melting faces out of 10.
Oh,
But
right
nice.
middle. All right.
The whole
you went Indiana Jones with the
I
melting
can't get out
faces.
of how there was no common sense in handling the box. I know I'm harping on it, but that's what it is. Hey, they made the show, right? So, but they did try. So JT or was Hungry last time, they did try. Like everybody got a little shot at trying to act a little bit. Even Devlin got in on it, right?
Yep.
With what he was getting ready to throw out. So I want to give them. I'm gonna give it like a 4 to 5 melting faces out of 10 because they did try get people involved with the acting, but I kind of want to give it less because of the whole handling of the box thing.
Oh no, give it what you want. All ratings are valid with
I'm gonna
reason,
go with
right?
I'm gonna go with like a 4.5 4. Yeah.
Gotcha. 4.5. Well, see, that puts it about where I was at 2. I do popcorn boxes, and I'm at 2 of 5 popcorn boxes, right about 40% below average. This was just the last 5 minutes is all you really needed to see. Well, I guess the intro and the end is all you really need to see. Everything was just kind of it was almost on the level, but it was slightly better than the whole Gary Coleman New Year's special with let's just be cheap and look back at the whole season retrospective. But it was not that bad. But I'd say 4 or 5.
I'll say if they had taken the first, well, it's hard to say because of that really long intro, but the first up through Buck's hallucination, this could have been a near Twilight Zone level episode. And I love the Twilight Zone.
Right.
And it almost felt like that's the way they were going to go with it.
That
and it
was
very well may even be a Twilight Zone episode. My mind's drawing a blank if it is, but it did have potential up until that point.
Yeah. But that intro was so long before they got to the opening credits. It was abnormally long, and then they didn't do anything. Everybody, the Admiral, the other con operator, the Wilma, but they all had to have an experience. I mean, it was like too much with the experiences and not enough of, what the, it's like they felt like they had to fill time. And they
which they could have used to make it better, right?
Yeah, which they could have made have less of them. Maybe explain the Guardians more. Not rush that ending scene like, oh crap, we got 3 minutes. Let's slap a bow on it and be done. But
Yep.
yes, so all right. Well, that's it for the first one, the Guardians. Are we done with this one? Put this one behind us.
Done.
Wow. Yeah, that was quick, but hey, it's still not as the worst episode. In a couple of weeks, we're going to do a retrospective. So you guys got to be thinking, what was the one worst episode of all of them? And I think I'm going to say you can't count the retrospective episode, only because it's too easy to pick out. Okay.
The one with Gary Coleman?
Right. Yeah. Where he was doing the New Year's
that's nowhere near the worst one.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine with that. All right. That's good to know. Episode 30, which is sixth in this season 2, Mark of the Saurian. And I keep thinking Sauron. I kept waiting for the mouth of Sauron to appear, or some big dude in a thing with a big axe or something, But hey, all right. So Steve has already told us what he thinks about it, but we'll come back to that. I'm going to star that. No, the little people showed up a couple last week, but hey. All right. Mark of the Saurian, directed by Barry Crane, written by Francis Moss, first aired February 5, 1981, episode 55908. While suffering from an alien fever, Buck insists that a visiting ambassador and his entourage are really reptilian beings and human guys. But only he can see through their illusion. While everyone else thinks Buck is hallucinating, the aliens try to kill him, and Buck must prove what he sees is real before the aliens carry out their plot to infiltrate their enemy's defense station and destroy the Searcher. Guest star, see, again, this is getting shorter and shorter. They don't have much to say. Sauron has a mouth to go with his eye. All right. Guest stars, again, not like the first season. Lyndon Childs as Ambassador Cabot, although he looked familiar. Vernon Weddle as Dr. Moray. At least they didn't say Moreau. Kim Hamilton as Nurse Patron. Hello, Nurse. Stacy Keats Sr. as Senior Officer. Barry Cahill as Major Elif. I wanted to say Major Elf, but Major Elif. Alan Hunt as Wingman. Okay. And Frank Parker as Captain. All right. Those are the guest stars this episode. Really not much we've got here. All right. What we basically have in here is, we see Hulk leaving at the beginning because dignitaries are coming. They just had negotiated a permanent peace with the Saurians, and the Saurians complete surrender. They're coming back triumphant. Hulk leaves the ship because he wants to go on patrol, get away from all the crap. And as they come on, we see that Buck is highly ill from some disease that Now, I don't know that they really explained the cause or source of it. So if they did, we'll touch on that in a second. Or if that's the point, we'll touch on that in a second. But I never found out really what the cause was. But in his sick and weakened condition, he was seeing what nobody else on the ship was, that they had a green aura. And eventually when Payne was there, he could actually see them as the reptilian, the enemies that had actually started to have the ability to look like humans. With a little doohickey. We've got that, and then basically we have the back and forth in the ship, the drama. Buck 1 minute apologizing, next minute, hey, they're really bad. We see how they take control of the Searcher and take it off course towards this defense area, a different area that's got an automated space station that will shoot up anything that comes too close. Well, we see that they infiltrated earlier, took out the major that was there. So one of the Saurians were also controlling the gate. As the ship goes towards there, we see it approaching, and the infiltrator on the defense fort got their general, who said, "Okay, y'all can come in, just do all this stuff." So the plan worked, but before it happened, Buck comes in. Buck keeps everybody armed. We see the reptile playing the ambassador was about to shoot him till Hawk comes in, grabs the gun from him, and Buck goes into super secret freezing that like somehow froze like in 20 seconds, where the reptiles went frozen like an iguana in Miami on a 30-degree night. Florida. Yes, that will fall out of a tree, But and then we see it in
far too rapidly. But
that's about it. that's I think in a nutshell how this whole episode went. And of course, it also ended with the classic 70s, 80s, everybody laughing ha 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 at the end of the episode. So, all right, guys, let's kick it with wherever y'all want to start. We can go any direction you want to go with it too. But Mr. Angel said, knowing Buck too much space rooms is why nobody believed him. Buck, for God's sake, not the space lizards hallucinations again. Yeah, they didn't. Oh yeah, the searcher does look like something interesting. We don't know. We don't know. They just fly really, really fast. So not explained either. So yeah, and okay. So that's my synopsis of it. So Phil TMT's here. Hey Phil, sorry.
Hello,
was
Phil.
busy trying to give this update on and the description of this. So, yeah, feel free if y'all want to tell us what you think of this episode. Go ahead. I know that Simply Steve has already, and I've flagged that. But good to see you, Phil. Everybody else, share the stream out. 15 here, YouTube. Hit that like, subscribe it, share it out. Twitch, follow us over there. All right, who wants to go first with this? I'll go first. I'll tell you what. Honestly,
it's your show, Dadman. Do what you want.
I'm gonna hear the body hit the floor in a second. I actually liked this episode. I thought
so did I.
This is one of the better episodes that they've had this second season. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it qualifies what your normal science fiction is, but having the drama between are they real or not lizards, the what Buck was going and his journey through the whole thing, trying to get believed, and even he started questioning, well, maybe I am crazy or something, I think when they did things like when they drugged him to counteract their, so he couldn't see them anymore. I thought a lot of that was believable. The way they got the blood sample, things like that. I thought that they did a very good job with practical effects, practical methods. It made sense how it happened. The intrigue. I mean, we see spies all the time. People come in and false identities, take over a ship, or do something for bad purposes. So and we got a pew pew there, at least one, because at the defense station, we see the first guy that got wiped out by them. It's all good, I thought it was so I really like this episode overall. So we can are there things we can nitpick? Yeah, absolutely, sure. But overall, I think they did a good job with this. But I tell you, if y'all don't agree, if y'all don't like it as much as I did, feel free. That's what we do here. So who wants to go next?
Hey, Dave's the guest. Dave, you should go first.
Okay.
All right. I actually had a little fun with this one. I kind of liked it. It reminded me what V TV show came into mind.
Oh, yes.
The Lizard Men,
the old one
mask,
or the new?
The masks weren't as terrible as the Blue Leprechaun one. It seemed like they were thinking ahead with the whole concept of how are they going to convince us that Buck is trying to convince them. The one, I don't want to spoil alert, but because Dadman touched on it, after they gave them the drugs, they forgot about something else to do where they adjusted the things. They forgot about the other one. So they were thinking they had a little foresight there to add that in. I know. I kind of just like the Wilma running around in those little white pump heels those white heels she's got going on.
Yeah.
No issues. No issues.
And no issues with that at all.
She had a lower top this time too, though.
Yeah, and that skirt seemed lower at times than other times, but it might have just been me.
But it's very not like a colonel. One of the things that I did have a problem with this episode repeatedly was trying to take her seriously as a colonel between her low crop top, the skirt, but not just that. Well,
and those white heels.
And I got to go back to the last episode for one thing too. It was a little bit of that because the admiral goes, "What's wrong, my child?"
Oh yes, I mean, Dad, I forgot about that. Which episode it was in? I was going to say I wanted to bitch slap that admiral. Just loud enough so everyone on the bridge could hear it. How dare you call a colonel that?
My dear. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that's one of the things I saw that was a critique in the second season is how they went to make her so not the militaristic colonel of the first season and stuff. And, it's like, why? Well, because you're changing who she is, what she is.
Yeah, man, I was so mad about that. So mad.
What about
she got a little revenge on this show that was actually written into it, right? Do you remember what she did to the ambassador?
No,
When
go
he
ahead.
went to go kiss her hand. She just pulled it right out.
Oh, yeah.
But then the admiral stood there and chewed her out about it. Like, you should have let her do it. How are you going to tell her to let him do that? If she didn't want that, you should have stood up for her.
Yep.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Also, the admiral gives orders and says please when he gives the orders. I don't know if it was in the first episode or this one. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that.
No, not at all.
Admirals don't say please to subordinates.
No, they say
That has happened in never. Yeah. So
at least you didn't say make
overall, it was a good show.
In a British accent from Marseille, France.
Sure. Although I could tell you, Tweaky, I had this in my notes here. He comes in, especially since I'm wearing this today, comes up to Buck and gives the Irish accent. Dadman, you want to try the top of the morning to you, Buck?
Oh, God.
Top of the morning to you, Buck.
Are you kidding me, man? Really? With that non-Mel Blanc voice? Which, by the way, interesting. I looked up that neither him or Crouton are credited. So what does that tell you? They don't even credit those guys.
He is credited. The voice is credited in one episode, but on the IMDb, they're very sloppy these days. So you're right. Most of the episodes are uncredited, but I think in one of the episodes, the new Tweaky voice is credited. I looked him up, and he only did 3 other things. And I think we know why he only did 3 other things.
yeah, obviously. But
all right, Hungry, it's your turn.
We
want to hear what you have to say because you've been promising just death and destruction, I think, for a week. So,
well, no. I mean, I did my death and destruction for the previous episode, and honestly, I enjoyed this episode a lot more. I'm not going to go into ratings by the end, but there, as I'd mentioned when we were doing overviews of the series, and in season 1, this had a fair amount of 1960s Mission Impossible to it, where we're looking at foreign delegations, we're looking at foreign governments, we're looking at the collapse of a government and having to actually acquiesce and surrender. They actually do use the word surrender. They actually use the phrase "suing for peace" at the beginning of the episode, which is a very specific historical term, and so I was greatly enjoying that. And very, very early in the episode, we get the glimpses where they're messing around with I'll just call them their image modifiers, because they never actually use a technical term for the devices on their forearms, and at least those masks were original. They have not been used in previous shows. They just repeated them. You use the same mold to create multiple masks,
which is fine.
Yeah, and that's a lot better than using a famous Monsters of Filmland Halloween mask and just painting it slightly differently. And I do feel they kind of cheaped out using the delegation was wearing the same formal Earth Defense Force uniforms.
Yeah,
why are they wearing Earth uniforms? Why? But there are complaints to be made. But I
thought those were the formal Earth uniforms.
Well, there's the.
I thought that they stayed.
They just reused them.
Right, but you would have to if you're going to keep the illusion of the real.
You're talking about those, like right there, right?
Right.
Yes,
but you would have to wear what the humans wore to the meeting, though. You'd have to wear the same outfits. You couldn't change it to something else.
I understand that, but these guys were from a different sector of the government, so different. There are different,
but not
uniforms
necessarily.
For different
places. I see what you're saying, but
they're from the diplomatic corps. They were the State Department, not the Department of Defense.
Well, yes. But anyway, let's say hello to Phantom Outsider, who is hailing us from the earthquake state of New Jersey. So, and also. Cat did say that TNG did an episode like this, but instead of a virus, Mrs. Troy just randomly read their minds.
We do not want to compare even the worst of TNG to Buck Rogers. That's going down a very deep hole No pun intended. And
with Troy, that's a hole no one wants to go down.
No.
But anyway,
I can't stand Deanna Troy. Let's not
and
go
we
there.
do, yeah. And we
you
did
and me
Pam's
both
cat,
hungry. That's why we're
and we do.
simpatico. Okay.
We do remember that because there was a specific episode where he really got depressed, went out on his own. First episode he got mad, went out because he wanted to see where his parents were, but then they had to come save him, and then they had the other one where he really got depressed with that. But yeah, we definitely remember that. And Buck is a little more stable this, I think, season. I think
stably depressed. Very stably depressed, which is obvious that Gil Gerard is not happy with the scripts he's been getting.
Yeah.
It just really reads
I've touched on that with you guys before.
I actually read some stuff about how he was unhappy with the second season the way it was, and even in the 90s he was talking back like how it was the way they tried to pull off the Star Trek part. But Phantom Outsider said the epicenter was 4 miles from where he lives.
Oh dear!
Wow.
Glad you're okay.
Glad you're okay. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
But there were a lot of very interesting aspects of this episode that I really
Let me say one other thing. A lot of our stuff in our first, we did cover a lot of this stuff in our early episodes in the first thing, because we did talk about all this even in the intro before we even started the randoms. So go back and watch our videos and stuff on that and the previous shows, because we didn't watch the movie specifically, but we're aware our first 2 episodes were taken from the movie, made into the television plots. And, that's what we got. Now, there were some differences from the theatrical release than there are in the television series, including some deaths and stuff like that. So, so I encourage everybody, go back, help our algorithm, go back, watch those old shows too.
And we were fans of quite a number of episodes of season 1.
Yes.
And we had debates about some of them. Some of us liked an episode, and some of us did not like the same episode. So it's not, is not echo chamber stuff at all.
Yeah, and there were cussing in the movie versus the television, because you had all the censors, but see, also there were some people that died in the movie version, did not die in the television show. So we got 17 people still with us tonight after an hour and a half talking Buck Rogers, 16 here on YouTube and 1 on Twitch. Thank y'all. Hit that button, subscribe, share it out with people. Let's keep growing. I tell you, Friday nights there's so many other streams out here. Thank you for taking the time to be here. That makes it special, and we want to be different here. We aim to be different and kind of odd and off the wall, including with our great friend down here who's known to come anywhere with anything at a moment's notice. So, Phantom Outsider, we'll have to have you on. We'll have to talk about this. Maybe next time Hungry and I do a squirrel stream then to see what it felt like about that. But,
well, I was in the Los Prietos quake, so I know what a big quake feels like.
I've never been in a quake.
That was the late 1980s. Or early 90s California quake, which caused untold damage and basically devastated Santa Cruz. Had to rebuild half of Santa Cruz.
Wow.
And a lot of people died in it. So I'm not going to make fun of the New Yorkers. I know they're not used to it, and it would be very shocking to have your walls shake and have everything fall down and have windows crack. But that's very different to having a 1911 brick wall come apart in pieces and fall on you. And
ouch.
So I just I'm not going to get too serious here. I agree with Dadman. I think it's a good topic for a later night. But if we talk about that, we're going to get so caught up, we're never going to finish this episode.
Hungry, were you wrapped up with your episode overview thoughts?
Relatively. I also wanted to point out that I thought the character acting was much better in this one. I'm just going to call him Lizard Doctor.
Lizard Doctor
did a very good job, and I liked the interaction between him and Doctor Who #1.
I liked the interaction. I liked the way he played it. I liked the way he interacted with Dr.
Goodfellow,
because they acted like colleagues, like doctors in the hospital. They were, you couldn't tell the guy was a fake. They did good. And then also the way he played off Buck's allegations and stuff.
Yes.
It was always cool, never lost. I mean, except for the time when he reported that it'll be reported all. But I mean,
But that was like after 3
right.
times, and then he was a good spy. He was actually working the emotions of other people. He worked on that professional connection with Goodfellow. He was understanding and kind towards Buck the way a real doctor would be, until you get frustrated with this is one time too many. And I thought that was very well paced out in the script. That was good writing. It's obviously a different writer to what we had in the previous episode. And you can, as JT knows and Dave C knows, boy, you change a writer in a comic book or a TV show, you notice a big difference.
But see, the problem is, and we can talk about this now because we are in second season. It's hard. This one is actually one of the better episodes because of the way it was written.
This could fit in season 1.
It could fit in season 1, but we know it's not. Actually, we did. We actually had starfighters.
Yes.
At the very beginning, we had the starfighters. Now, they weren't wearing the white Earth defense forms, but I mean, we did have those classic starfighters there. We had some militaristic presence, which was like first season.
Oh, and Wilma was a hard-nosed, word for a very strong woman with a big opinion. And that was, and we talked about that.
But she was respectable.
But
in those heels
too. She was a colonel, and she did not know that Buck was an astronaut, and therefore had a quasi-military standing. She didn't know, so it was understandable she'd be pulling attitude towards Buck until the very end, and he had proven himself. And in this one, I just wanted to add, I don't know if it was the directing or if it was in the script or if it was purely on the part of the actors, but the Saurian delegation, the spies, I noticed that they were altering their body language when they were away from humans, and they seemed a little bit more reptilian. And I thought that was a nice touch. There were little body twitches. There were little ways they moved their heads. There were ways that the cadence of the voice, the diction changed a little bit. And that's a very nice attention to detail.
Exactly. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic point. I don't know if you wanted to go, JT, or
you go.
Oh, I don't.
I was just going to trail on that because that's pretty much what made the episode. These lizard dudes were the best part of it.
Good night to Mr. Angel's girlfriend. Good night. He fell asleep.
Good night, good madam. Good night. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
Good night, Mr. A. Good night,
Bye, Mr. A.
Night. Good night, Mistress A.
Mistress. That's hilarious.
Well, she may be an honest woman. Come on now.
That works. All right.
Anyway.
But I like this the way this fit in. It could have fit in either one. It got back to something better than just like with the Guardians. It was like it didn't even feel science. It just didn't even feel like a Buck Rogers type of episode. It just I mean, at least Time of the Hawk, we had the mystery, I had the thing about his background. Even Journey to Oasis, we had like the head taking off guy and some things that really gave, that really kind of at least added something to go. But it's still not that first season feel of the military, the space fighting, or just, at least in Star Trek, I know it's not a big thing, focuses the shooting normally, but at least you still had that threat, that presence was there. This season's been like, we're a bunch of hippies in a commune van just flying out into space on the searcher thing, and just peace, love, drugs, rock and roll, and all that stuff. And it's like, what happens if somebody's really going to shoot you? We had one last time where they had to fake they were going to be decoying self-destruct. That's all that they were left with.
Yeah, but they did, to be fair, Dadman, in this episode, they did bring up the Super Dreadnought Defense Space Station, which I'm gonna look. You saw it at the beginning of the episode. We all saw it. JT saw it. You guys like talking about the visual StarCraft. You guys can talk about that. I'm not going to talk about the design of it. I hated it. That's all I'm going to say. With the 6 spinning wheels, it looked like a starfish with teacups at the end of the tentacles. and and I understand that they set up in the script that it can destroy anything that comes without using the security code, the proper security clearance at the beginning. I liked that. I thought that was a good aspect of it.
Yes,
and
that was very, yeah.
And that was a very clear threat, because the searcher was having its trajectory, having its course be altered. So it was coming in, and the Admiral says, we don't have the security codes. So that was a good setup to, it was kind of, I hate to say this, it was an attempt, and I'm not going to say it was good, I'm not going to say it was bad, but it's kind of like throwing a cat amongst the pigeons, taking out Archduke Ferdinand, the shot that fires off and starts a war. And I appreciated the attempt very much.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. And most definitely, if you guys noticed, we've already touched on it several times, just a little bit better writing, just a little bit better directing, just a little bit better foresight and forethought, and the whole show, and the whole episode is way better, right? I mean, the lizard guys were the more military type people of the whole show. And I think, I don't know if that was JT or Dadman had said that, and the interaction between their head guy and the doctor, when he was like, you do it. He didn't say please. He said, get it done. Right? Do you remember that one? When he got on the doctor's ass for not doing shit.
Right.
And the doctor went, okay, screw it. I'm just going to go stab this guy and draw his blood.
That's why this is the best episode. We needed Time of the Hawk to start the season, to bring in Hawk, and I'm getting a little more respect for him, because I always wonder, like, two things always freak me out with the damn pictures in season one is like, why the hell does Wilma look like a soda jerk, you know, or a roller chick at a car at a drive-in restaurant? And two, who the hell is this guy with white hair who's trying to be Leslie Nielsen and some Birdman?
It's William Hartnell. I mean, Dr. Goodfellow.
Not that guy. The Hawk. Gosh, but yeah. But I will say another thing in these two episodes, though, I do think is a difference. So that you mentioned Goodfellow, he did not. I thought they were more respectful to his character when he was involved in them. I think not as much in the second one, but especially in the first one, when he was having to analyze, do the blood, talk to the other. He was not that blithering old guy. Like we talked about that the last few weeks. You almost felt bad for him. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna fall over here. It's like, and we all felt bad, because it was like, why are you going out there doing that stuff? You know, it's.
Well, I mean, it was an overall better episode, I think, for me. And you guys know this fairly well at this point, that my biggest take for Gil was that a lot of it is he dropped the ball, like he didn't want to be there, but he actually did it. He tried, really. He acted on this one, you know. He really went at it with the whole being sick thing and trying to get people to convince. And a lot of the times you're kind of like, okay, we know what's going to happen at the end, but now you've actually got me interested in how are you going to make it happen. And I love the fact that he actually went and called Hawk, get me Hawk, for help. And he said, I'll be there right away. I'm coming right back. And that friendship bond, that's the difference in the writing and stuff like that. That was really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also the fact that a lot of people who have not had a near-death fever, and I have, that it does cause hallucinations when the brain is starting to boil in your head, and that is very dangerous. And this is why people die once they hit a certain temperature internally. And so the fact that it was believable that they assumed or presumed that he was seeing things. I mean, I've actually seen things when I nearly died from a fever. And when you have done that, and when this show was being done, you know, a lot of people had been through some heavy fevers. A lot of people could understand that, and you could relate to Buck going, yeah, but is
like
it
the
or
disco
isn't it?
fever?
Oh, dude, don't you know how I feel about it? You had
The
to
roller
I'm
dance
trolling.
episode.
I'm trolling. I'm trolling.
God,
Sorry.
I know it's all right. It's all right, but the medical stuff was lovely. I really enjoyed Dr. Goodfellow's bedside manner,
Mhm.
and
We actually got to see him. We got to see him function
competent
seriously.
professional.
Yes,
A competent
exactly, and it was
professional.
nice.
He wasn't bumbling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I can't, it's not her exact name, but it was like Dr. Paulson, who was played by an actress who had been in numerous things before that. The one who seemed a bit cranky, and Buck made fun of her bedside manner at the beginning.
Yeah, where they said she's going to be really mad at him for the way he was acting.
Yes.
Yes.
But she was still caring, so that showed again medical competency. Except that somebody that competent would not accidentally spill hot soup on Buck from a foot away. That was a bit of a push.
Soup has a mind of its own, Hungry.
The soup was possessed by the Ark of the Covenant from the previous
There was an
episode.
issue with the grav plating in the med bay, right there.
Dude.
Yeah. So, if I may, my thoughts on this episode, I have 3 things I would like to complain about and many things I would like to praise. Starting off with the 3 things I would complain about. Well, first, I should preface this back up one step. When Dadman asked me if I wanted to do season 2, he said, watch a few episodes, get back to me. So I watched the 2-parter first episode and then 2 other episodes. This was one of the other episodes.
Oh, good.
So happenstance on a good one, I guess, from what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to the things that I did not like. The first one, the whole thing with we have to adjust our sight to humans. I thought Birdman was not a human, and he made it very clear he was not human. Mm-hmm. Why did he not see through that?
But he wasn't there the whole time. But he was not there. He did not see them till he came in and landed and came in at the very end.
Okay.
Because all he would have seen is the human forms there. Probably we don't know, but he just got in just quick enough to grab the gun out of the ambassador's hand.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So that can be explained away. My second thing that I did not like, and I think some of you did like it, I want to know what the first Doctor has his degrees in, because all this time he's acted like it was PhDs in archaeology, in ancient cultures, and all the rest, and computer science. He's turning into Dr. Crusher really quick.
Oh, dude.
Because now he can prescribe medicine.
Ow.
And I'm sitting here going,
maybe he stayed at a Holiday Inn Express before they taped the episode.
Yes, and precisely. It just annoys me. He's not Dr. McCoy. He's not Dr. Pulaski.
He's not Doctor Who.
He's not Doctor Who.
JT,
that much is clear.
Let me ask you a quick question before I forget that, because that's an excellent point. How did he whip up the stuff that he shot into Buck? I mean, obviously he used the stuff that was on Searcher, right? I guess.
Yeah. He told Buck, he said, "I'm going to order you a sedative." And so then he told the nurse, who, by the way, when Nurse Chapel is not on duty, she is welcome to join my crew on the Enterprise.
Which one? The original one or the new one?
No bloody A, B, C, or D. The original. Anyway, before the movies. Anyway, it peeved me that he all of a sudden can prescribe medicine. I'm like, dude, what are you a doctor of? Because maybe this list would be easier to write down what you're not a doctor of. So I know you guys said you kind of liked some of that. I just thought it was irresponsible that he's just freewheeling sedatives on this guy. That was it. The third and final thing I really had a problem with on this episode is the space station is in the Delta Quadrant of what we don't know, no relation to the Star Trek Delta Quadrant. So Captain Bangway and the Voyager are not coming around on this one, but space is massive. I mean, incomprehensible to the human mind, massive. And you just violate this arbitrary line on a map. They're thinking like Khan, Nooney, and Singh here, very two-dimensional thinking. You would have to set a course dead set to that, dead set to it, to even remotely come into range of its weapons. You know, why, how, what?
Well, I mean,
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I understand that, but they did have a whole subplot with them altering the mechanics of the ship so they could move it closer towards the space station. But I understand what I understand completely with what you're saying. Just to quickly address the Dr. Goodfellow thing, he's got to be at least 72 in terms of character age and actor age, and so I thought, okay, late life student, you know, he got his basic general medicine license. I can let that one go. But the whole thing you're talking about in regards to the concept of space being static, I mean, people at this time, JT, you have to understand, most of us did not realize or were not properly taught that not only do planets move around, solar systems move around, and the galaxies within the solar systems move. And everything has to be very carefully plotted out. So I agree with you on that. Completely.
Max Redstone.
Oh, hey, Max.
Sorry, I can't do it like the other because that's
music Meister.
Max Redstone.
I know, but that's her thing. I got to do a Max Redstone. And by the way, Raquel Briggs is going to come on with me on April 15th on U.S. Tax Day.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Raquel's going to be there?
Yeah, Raquel's going to be here with me on the 15th. And also this Monday night on the 8th, I've got Lorena Creole too. So I'll talk more about that too.
Two great streams coming up.
Absolutely.
That is great. So and the other thing with the space station, I mean, it was kind of funny that
it looked like a fidget spinner.
It did, but those weren't invented yet. So it's like, okay. Fidget spinners look like this space station.
Yes, not the other way around. Yes.
It's funny that, Hungry, you brought up the Archduke, because I'm like, a defense grid that auto destroys everything.
Right?
That's kind of like, I feel like that violates at least a few things in the Geneva Convention, which, okay, space, Geneva Convention, whatever. But auto destroy, that's, I don't believe it, because you feel like you'd want somebody in control of making that decision. But anyway, these are all minor complaints. I did love a number of additional things to what everybody else said they already loved. I did love the writing. And one of the scenes that I really loved in the writing, there was a mention about mankind. And then one of the in disguise ambassadors said, mankind, what do you mean, you people, kind of response. And he left a very high-minded, almost Star Trek line saying, well, you know, there's very well other species out there that are far more inventive and creative than humans could ever be. And your language is, you know, small-minded, and you need to think outside of it.
And Asimov, Admiral Asimov, God, I hate that name. Admiral Asimov actually looked he looked sheepish, and he did take that into account, and he realized, no, he's right, and then he apologized. He actually apologized in the episode.
Yes. So I really enjoyed that. I did. I loved the return of the starfighters and the Cap Patrol. I loved the I don't know if I loved it, but it is a return, and I love the idea of it, the return in Buck Rogers of using names of other things to help fill in some of the blanks. You only get an hour to tell the story. Really, it's far less than that. And in season 1, it was common for Buck Rogers to name cities or places off of historical things on Earth, so you could fill in some of that in your mind about what they were trying to do, where they maybe couldn't do it visually or ran out of time. And saurians are basically every modern reptile. Excuse me. So saurians are a name that are used very commonly across sci-fi.
Yep.
Even Star Trek Disgracery made their own saurian race, and it looks worse than the saurians here, by the way. It looks much worse. But so I enjoyed it because I heard, oh, saurians. Do you even know what a saurian looks like? It would look like a reptile, because that's what you would call basically every modern reptile today, with some debate in the scientific community on DNA and how you want to organize it. But there you go. So I did enjoy that. It returned me to season 1 a little bit. And I did enjoy the way that the ending was set up, to where someone got sloppy and Buck threw it all on the line, and it all came in neatly together. I thought that was better writing than we've seen with Papa Smurf, and what we saw with the Ark of the Covenant, and even some of the season 1 episodes. I just appreciated the cogency of the plot for once, which I feel like we just have not had for a while. So,
well, again, the writer has much better credits.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely the writing, man.
But it shows you what can happen with this episode, and what can happen with the cast and the crew.
And the director. The director also has much better credits. This was a better creative team. And that's why I think, honestly, Gil Gerard in this one definitely pushed a bit harder as an actor than he did in the previous 2 episodes.
Yes. Yes. That's what I was touched on earlier, that I was very happy to see that. Again, just a little bit better directing, a little bit better acting.
Oh, I'd be honest.
You know,
I'd
and
say
look at, and you get just a way better episode. You know, the I didn't know who Hungry was coming up with some stuff there. I wanted to touch on the. I kind of like the fact, I didn't know if you caught on to this, that like Buck actually lost an argument, right? And it was kind of refreshing to see in a lot of different shows, especially maybe campy or bad and good like Buck Rogers can be, that the main guy actually got his ass handed to him, because
he had to apologize and eat crow,
and then had to apologize for it. But then what JT was saying, he went back and said, no, man, that's it. That's it. When he saw the other guy on the screen that they forgot about, that's what I was holding back for him later. That's where the writing came in. That's where the directing came in. They had that foresight, the plot. They had little loopholes that you might have forgot about that guy. Oh, what about that? I didn't think about that. You know what I mean? But it was kind of cool to watch Buck actually lose and then recover from that. Right? I mean, he got humbled and he just walked away. And the key thing, and this is a good directing and acting thing, and I don't know if they would have told Wilman to do this. She reached out to him and he shrugged away. And that was like, oh my God, that was really, oh shit, cool. He's like really upset about it. That's the difference between this episode and a lot of the other ones.
Which is not a ripoff, but it's a tribute to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where somebody has seen something, they know it's true, nobody else is believing them. And when you start feeling, or a character starts feeling paranoid about that, they would physically shrug away. And we've seen that trope in previous science fiction. So I agree with you completely. That's an excellent point to make, Dave.
Yeah, and we'll never know unless you actually talk to them, and if they could even remember that kind of crap, 20 to whatever years ago. Those are the things we were talking about the last episode. Those little things were added within the time frame into this episode that were completely missing out of all the other ones. And that's why I was saying we don't want to be too hard on them, but hey, they did it, not us. Right. And that's and it can be put into that time frame to make it a better show.
And we have to.
I will say,
Yep.
I did ignore the end of the episode. I just pressed stop when the two robots were talking and they started talking about the pointlessness of flowers to get better. I'm like,
yes,
okay,
don't,
I'm done.
Crichton. That's another thing.
Crouton.
Crouton. Yeah, we get we get more of his smart ass antics in all these episodes, and like this last one, they're smarting off. The damn ship's about to get destroyed, and he's on a rampage about blah 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 with the computer room. It's just, dude, what an annoying robot. I mean,
yeah,
it's like he does serve no purpose. He really distracts from the scenes that he's in. I don't think that they really added much with adding Crichton in here like this.
I think it was a step backward in every way.
Well, the only way you can really justify it is if we're all the producers. We've talked about this before. How do you come up with decisions to say we're going to add this new character in, and he's going to be this dry, humorless a-hole of a robot? And then somebody goes, "No, I like that."
But the way I see him,
and that's what happened. That's literally what happened.
The three of you may see him differently than I do. I see him as a relic of a time when computers have not really taken off the way that they did at the late 80s till today. And so I see him as a stupid robot that's nothing like an actual robot would be written, and there is quite a bit of science fiction and technological advancement in our age that you look at this and you go, this is a hokey 70s relic when everybody was still using computers that were larger than entire rooms, and everything was written on tape, not on hard drive platters and things like that, right? And so everything he says, everything he does, his limitations, his capabilities, like my stupid cell phone's better than this robot. And so it's annoying. And the way he's written is annoying, and I hate him.
That's it. That's my point. That's my point, JT. It's like they had to. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
That's you've nailed it. But it's why. That's what Dadman was saying. We're all thinking, yeah, why? And all I can think is like, well, they wanted to put that kind of character in there to change. Let's put and they all sat around and they thought that it was a good idea. And if you really think about it, I guess whether you like him or hate him, and I guess most people hate him, they meant to do it, or they just really
no they meant
you have to pick. They seriously meant to do it, or they really effed up. Right.
I brought this up when we introduced Crichton when he first came up, and I mentioned that Glenn Larson is known in Hollywood. He's actually got the reputation of being the king of the ripoff, right? And he rips off many elements of many shows. And this is when he thought somebody smoked a doobie and thought, what if we mix the obnoxious Dr. Smith from season 1 of Lost in Space with his robot companion? What if we put the brain of Dr. Smith in the robot? Wouldn't that be great? And that's what we got. Right. And that's why Crichton is so annoying. He is a dysfunctional cybernetic Dr. Smith in a metal body. And a lot of people do not like Dr. Smith at all. Let me tell you, believe it or not. I'm a Dr. Smith fan.
I loved it. I love that character in Lost in Space. And in the chat, I wanted to mention the chat was adding up how long ago. We're into the 40 years ago and stuff. I didn't even think it was that long ago.
Oh man, it's it will be 40. I started in 79, so it'd be 45 to 47 years ago.
And Lost in Space is farther back than that.
And I was going to say, Hungry, what year was that? 73, 4?
No. Lost in Space was like 65 to 64 to 66.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, it was before.
No, it was
the original series.
Yeah, it was a mid to late 1960s series, the original Lost in Space. It ran for 3 seasons, and a lot of people ripped off things from Lost in Space, and Lost in Space ripped off things from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which was made by the same guy, Irwin Allen. They were Irwin Allen shows. So the recycling was going on very seriously, and you can go from recycling to ripoff at the drop of a hat. But with Crichton, and that's actually spelled, by the way, like Michael Crichton, the guy who wrote Jaws.
When did the Leslie Nielsen movie come out with the robot? Is that not Red Planet? I get those mixed up.
Oh no, Forbidden Planet. That was
Forbidden
in the 50s.
Planet. That's in the 50s. So there you go. There's your robot right there.
And that had Robbie the Robot, which was later used in Lost in Space, by the way.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, so it was the episode. It's not as bad and rip-offy as other episodes. It does have its problems, but overall, when you look at the level of threat, you look at the reason for the threat, you look at how commonsensible the threat is when you're looking at a government that has basically had to capitulate to another government. I think this episode does have a lot more to offer than some of the other ones we've been talking about recently.
I agree totally.
Yep. All right. Well, how do we go from here on this episode? Are y'all ready to gravitate to grade it, or are there's more things that we can?
Dadman, you had more to say, right? I mean, you had more to add to this.
I like listening to you guys. Because you guys, people like to hear a lot about y'all because see, y'all know how to talk sci-fi. Y'all know how to talk a lot of that language. I don't. I'm just the ham and egger that comes in.
We all know you're a pew kind of guy when it comes to the sci-fi, and
see, I like, but
none
but
of
like,
that in this, except
well, we did at the beginning when they did atomize that one guy, but we had that espionage, we had that tension, we had that. That really cool subverted thing, and that really got me excited about this episode because I know I'm just like starting to, oh gosh, after what we saw in the first 4 episodes, especially after last week, but if they could just make the episodes like this, I could deal with the less pew when it's something like this. Get me the political, get me that espionage, give me that kind of. This one had a different tone to it than like last week with just a purely religious blah 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 blah, all the talky talk, But
that brings up something very good, Dan, man, because Wilma actually had some agency here, and she's the one that shows Buck, like, have you seen Saurians? Do you know what they are? No, I have no idea. Let me show you what a Saurian looks like, when he's had no chance to know what a Saurian looks like, and then he looks at the actual first peace talk, capitulation talks, and he sees what the Saurians look like, and she says there's no way you could have known what they looked like. And I thought that would, yes. And that's when Wilma is totally on Buck's side, and she's no longer thinking he's just a fever victim, and that's
right.
And that changes the direction. That's good causality versus fake causality in screenwriting. And I thought that was intelligently scripted, and others might disagree, but it led us to getting to the final moments and Buck realizing that pain, especially when he started, the lizard doctor said, you're going to feel some pain. I'm pretty much sorry about that. There's nothing we can do. And that's when he actually sees him completely, not with a green glow, but sees him as a lizard. Then later on, he sees the Saurian delegation, and then later on, he's aware of 2 things. To his mind, they're probably going to be badly affected by cold, and also he needs to feel pain in order to see them. And that's when he smashes his hand down on the console near the temperature controls to force himself to see pain so he can actually prove to himself as much as prove to other people he is seeing what he's seeing. It's not the fever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can tell that somebody actually thought out about plot lines, some twists, things that the people might not see coming. That's another one you might not have seen coming, where she did that. You had no idea she was going to do that, and it was really awesome that she did. She's like, oh, wait a minute, you never would have seen that. And it's like, oh, here we go. Yeah, this is kind of cool that she did that.
Showing the smarts that a colonel would have, by the way.
Exactly. With that low cut top.
Well, it's aside from the lack of lycra, we can say it's a return to form.
Right.
A return to form.
Nope, I lycra. Hey, there's Lisa. Hey,
Lisa.
Let's try it all three. Dave, you go again. JT, come in if you want to. Okay, ready? Hungry on three. Well, 1, 2, 3. All right, ready on 1, 2, 3. Lisa.
That was terrible, guys.
That was horrible.
We need to work on our.
I'm way off time.
On our barbershop routine.
We can do
here.
three.
There you go. We can
do
get
the
a
Three
barbershop
Stooges.
quartet.
Do the Three Stooges.
Barbershop quartet. Hey, Star Poopus is still here. He came in for the mud.
Do the
sorry,
Three Stooges.
Steve.
Do it the Three Stooges way, man.
Hey, Mo.
Hey, Mo.
Lisa.
How do you see?
Hello.
Oh, why is
she kind of liked it. Yikes. How about that? Wow.
We're not doing it again.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've done 2 hours already with this
No, we're
show.
not.
Shall we go ahead and grade this one? Or because I don't know of any other ways to kick this one. This pig seems to be done and out at this point. Unless y'all can think of a new angle.
I did have one question for the chat and the panel about the Buck Rogers thing, especially in this episode.
Yep.
And you guys might have brought it up when I haven't been around. But where are the red shirt security people on the Searcher?
They died by dint of budget.
No, they all wore the sailor outfits. That's
it's like somebody hits the button. Oh, I need some help down here, and who shows up? It's either Buck, but not in this episode because he's in bed or running around. It's the Admiral or Wilma. You got the Admiral running down the hallways doing security work, who just happens to show up at that part of the ship 2 seconds later after they hit the alarm button. I'm like, are you supposed to be like on the command deck or something?
Yes.
Is it only me? It's just absolutely complete. There's no security on this ship at all, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen a security guy person?
I think once or twice they had people in the exact same costumes because everyone's wearing nearly the same uniform, bearing sidearms, but there's no established security force designated on the Searcher.
I thought there was some episodes somewhere along the line that there actually had some, but I didn't know if that was on Earth or actually on the Searcher itself.
They've been in previous episodes, but not on the Searcher. No, the Searcher is a high budget model with a low budget crew.
At least they still had Dennis Haysbert, right? That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Simply Steve just said it. No, he was always stuck on the damn command deck pushing buttons.
Exactly.
Right. So for Simply Steve, right on cue, he just asked that.
Dennis Haysbert was the ensigns on the bridge, usually more for driving the ship. I'm sorry, that sounds so
driving
bad.
The plot, yeah.
Driving the ship, yeah. He wasn't selling your Allstate insurance either at that point. So yeah. The Searcher was hit by budget cuts. Yeah, it looked like a big. Somebody always used the P word earlier. I thought like from Airplane. It looked like a big Tylenol. So
well, to be blunt, it actually does look that the front of the ship is a little bit of a ripoff from 2001: A Space Odyssey. The back of the ship, it's like they tried to. Thank you, Glenn Larson. You're always consistent. He tried to take 2 different ships, the back of the Battlestar Galactica, and mix it with 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I actually don't mind the design of the Searcher, but it's just. The show is going to be what it's going to be by this stage of the game.
It was like a Galactica with a bulb on the end or something. Ball on the front.
A ball in the front. Yeah, I know. It was like really, really weird. I love that.
It does remind me almost of some of the ships on the Battlestar Galactica 2004 reimagining, in a way.
Or a ship from the Ragtag fleet following the Galactica.
Yes.
Or I can name it, or the Black Hole, or this one, or this movie, or this movie.
I love the Black Hole. I will not be ashamed.
Let's do that one too. Then.
Serrano, no push buttons. Yes, there you go. Yes. All right. So, all right, let's score this one. Because I know Mark's doing fortnight, I think, at midnight, about a little less than an hour. So we're
Yep.
going to actually
wow.
maybe take a few minutes and squirrel on a few things after this. But grades, Hungry, how do you grade this one?
7 Tweakies out of 10.
Oh, okay. That's pretty solid. I was afraid of all your lead up that it was going to be like Gary Coleman levels, but
No, that was the
that's good.
previous
No.
episode. That was the previous episode. I
Okay.
honestly, I oh boy, the Gary Coleman episode. But honestly, the Guardians for me simply because of all the other stuff I know, the metaphysical stuff I know, and sometimes metaphysics can actually be consistent, but not in that episode. That's a low episode. That's what I was warning people about. I wasn't warning them about this one. I said mixed bag of nuts, and these are the good nuts. So we got the cashews with this episode. We got the cheap ass peanuts in the previous ones.
No macadamias right now.
No,
Right.
no. All right. We
No
got
max.
7 out of 10 from you. Dave, how did you?
I'm rolling with like the 7 and almost the 8 on this one. Now that's obviously because I haven't been caught up with a lot of them as you all have, and I wanted to preempt with the Gary Coleman, but that one actually skipping on my disc, so I can't really watch. I'm going to try to watch it again.
Now there are 2 Gary Colemans though. There's one where he's like the king trying to be a stud, and there's the other one where he's the little prompt behind the messages on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so
Same character though. Same character. Yeah.
Same character. So for everybody here, my grading is based on what I've been able to catch up on, what I can remember for especially season 1 and a lot of the good, better ones. I'm going with I might even go like a 7.5, 8 on this, only because of the directing, the acting, everything we've been talking about. The lizard people were really good.
Yeah,
The ambassador, that doctor, the interactions that JT and Hungry and you guys were talking about. I'm gonna go with a solid 7 at least.
Cool.
At least
Awesome.
That's 7 melting faces out of 10.
Nice.
Awesome.
So.
And JT Kirk, what do you say?
Well, I'm going to give it 4 dropped lizard tails out of 5. And everybody knows sometimes lizards can drop their tails to escape a predator.
Geckos.
Yeah. And I love chasing those things. As a kid, I was born in Orlando, lived there till I was about 5, and those things were all over the wood fence growing up. Dave, you probably have them. Dadman, you probably have them.
Yes,
I got it.
that was the most hilarious part of the whole show, JT. And now that I know you're in Orlando, you know damn well. That's probably gave me at least 1 or 2 points on the show just when they fell over from the cold. Being down here in Florida, because that's hilarious, man. I laughed my ass off when I saw that.
Yeah. So that is my rating. 4 lizard tails out of 5.
Nice.
Yep.
So
All right. Well, I am
enjoyed it.
going.
Yep.
I'm kind of split with this because I don't want it to be too high because it was not perfect. It had things like that because you got to be careful scoring something too high in case something tops it. So that's why I'm saying 4 out of 5 popcorn buckets.
4 out of 5, though, not 10.
Yes, 4 out of 5.
I just want to make sure I heard you
80%,
correct.
or it would be 8 out of
5.
10. But 4 out of 5 because we have to reduce fractions down to the simplest numbers. There's no 8 out of 10. It's 4 out of 5. But anyway, that's a math thing in my head. That's for you masters about numbers. But considering how season 2 has been, judging it for season 2, I would call it 4.5 buckets. It's like 4 and half another bucket of popcorn out of 5 because this one is way farther ahead for me than the other episodes this season. So, all right. And that's it. That's our wrap-ups. Folks in the chat, what do you think? I've got some now, Simply Steve said the Saurians episode he thought was the worst, and feel free, Simply Steve, share it with us. If you didn't like it, tell us. All opinions are accepted, and it's wonderful. Masters says the episode is solid, simply too far out. Admiral to crewman, I know there's a hustle, but may I follow me on suggestions? And then the others are dealing with a side issue that I wanted to come back to in just a second. So, but those are what the thing. God, wait, what kind of popcorn buckets are these? Regular ones or the ones that got the hole in the bottom? Regular ones, and not those fancified things, special things that cost $30 at the movies now.
I don't think that's what he means when he says hole in the bottom of the popcorn bucket.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, God dang it. You people, I'm pie in the sky taking this stuff serious, and you come off with that crap. Gee, Manetti's. Good one. Masters, Dave says, did Dave see, put yourself in contact? Okay. We got that. So just get with me, Dave, on that later. Max is singing, "Oh, the world don't move to the beat of one drug. While shooting your arm won't be snorted by some." Okay. Exactly. Okay. That's not what he was suggesting. Jeez, JT. Now it's your fault. But then Lisa's like, duh.
He said it. I mean,
he's pleading ignorance. It sounds like.
What else would you have a hole in the bottom of a popcorn bucket for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Master says I'm a number monk. All right, so that concludes our 2 episodes tonight. Next week we will be looking. I'm not going to bring those episodes up real quickly. We'll have 2 more episodes next week. Let me find those right now.
I think one of them is the crystals. The crystals.
Yeah, episode. I need to see that. I realized I got to eat. I forgot to eat dinner earlier. I took a nap. I took a power nap because I want to try to play Fortnite in a little bit. But
it's going to be a mixed bag of nuts next week too. By the way, a good episode and. But yeah.
All right. So next we will see. We'll see how this goes.
Which ones are the next ones, Dadman? Just for everybody to.
That's what I was going to. I'm bringing the screen up right now to do that. Yes, exactly. No, not Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. No. No. Come on, get there. There you go. All right. Here we go. And here next Friday, our episodes will be 2.7, The Golden Man and The Crystals. So, hey.
I remember that one.
Yeah, exactly. So next Friday, we will be doing The Golden Man and The Crystals. So, actually, I was going to squirrel a little bit, but not long because I do need to eat before Fortnite comes up, and I do need to share a few things tonight. For all you guys with the earthquake, and I know that there were some things here. Let me go back to some of the stars. Phantom had said his brother was a geologist at 10 a.m. The quake happened. He was at the refinery sitting in his truck, which was running. He couldn't feel it. Oh, wow. That's a bad day for a geologist, So, all right. And Phantom Master said his first earthquake was a 7.6. Understand the level of stress. Not trying to mock you, just it had been shocking. And then he said Phantom said he was somewhat amused after it passed and went back to work, but they had us clear the building. So, which they need to do just in case, especially if you're not used to getting those things. And see, Lisa's is happy with popcorn buckets. Master said the Golden Man's so bad it's good. The Golden Man with that kid that was on almost everything, Gary Coleman. Yes, there you go. There you go. All right. And Corey said we've got how many more episodes? We have 7, I believe, because I think 4 weeks.
There's only 12. There's only 12 in season 2, and we've been through 5. So
no, we got 13. We got 13. We've been through 6. We got 13. Okay. We've been through 6. So that means we got 7 more. So, which was about 4 weeks, and hopefully in 4 weeks, what we'll do.
I'm shocked Glenn Larson let it be 13 and not 12.
Right.
Well, hey, you got to get every paycheck you can get. It's about getting every paycheck you can get. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up now because I need to eat before I do anything else. You guys are awesome. Thank y'all for here. Dave, great for having you for the first time on the panel with us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the stay, and you'll be back with us next week.
Yes, definitely. I think this is my second already, right?
Yeah.
Did I do one a couple weeks?
I'm not sure. You did a squirrel stream, I know. And Dave,
squirrel stream we talked about, but
in about 4 weeks from now, on that there's a single episode week. We'll try to do a recap and a retrospective on that week, and hope to have everybody here with us that night.
That's going to be a good one.
And actually looking back, so
set some time aside for that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
my
that'll
gosh.
definitely be good. And then maybe I'll go through the comic and see if it was any good to the show.
Exactly. But before people leave, because Snort Poopa said, take care of every human. What I
Thanks,
want to
Snort.
remind you is this weekend will be random Squirrel Streams, Chill Chats, or Fortnite, because I'm way behind on Fortnite. But I have to deal with some real life business too, a lot of stuff with that first. But I do hope that y'all are here Monday night, because I will have Lorena Creole on. We'll be chilling with her. Come. What's going to be fun, a beautiful lady and a wonderful human being, and somebody we've gotten to know and actually spend some time with. So,
and smart as a whip.
Oh hell yes, exactly. So, and when she says bless your heart, she says it in the true Southern style, which means you better it's not good. So when a Southern lady says bless your heart, it's not good. You don't start backing
you better
up.
be
But
seeing
hey,
yourself towards the door.
exactly. Well, we've got 12 people here still with us. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, get people growing, and we'll keep going. But you guys are forming a great Friday night base, because even when we wrap this episode up, I've got ideas for Friday night shows going forward, and would love to keep you here coming back every Friday night. There's so many alternatives out there. Come here for something different. We plan to be different and bring friends and everybody else, and we'll see how this goes. But on Tuesday nights, we got the Sports Weekly with JT and Sci-Fi Mombi Whoopa Troopa. We make sports fun. Come hang out with us. Don't let sports just scare you. We go on some squirrel chases too that can be kind of fun. The chill chats will be impromptu. I'll try to announce them ahead of time if I can do it. Fortnite streams are usually random also. Try to announce those too. Late night with Dadman and Friends. I am looking to try to bring this out on a more permanent basis on Wednesday and Friday nights. But Friday nights after we deal with after we complete the Buck Rogers, at least over the summer. So please, I hope that you get the word out about the channel. Make plans to be here. Become this core anchor of Wednesday and Friday night, and we just grow from there, and and just have a good time on all together. So, so there's with that. Also, live streams YouTube.com, twitch.tv, Dadman Walking 55, also on X or Twitter, Dadman Walking 55. That's where you will find me. If it doesn't have a G, it's not me. So, but hope to see y'all there. All right, and let me see that. Hold on, we got to do this. I'm trying to look on YouTube real quick, because with 12 of y'all, until now, Mark JT, can you find Mark's link and put it in the chat for me right now?
On it.
So, because at 12:05 we'll be doing Fortnite over there. So join us over there. We really would love to see you there. Have a lot of people there. I'm going to actually get there tonight since I had a nap earlier. What I'm trying to see is, let's see. I'm just trying to see who else is out there that we know. So, all right.
Yeah, I might have missed it. Did you say the 15th? That's Monday's.
That's a Monday.
And 15th is RM Briggs. That's Raquel.
No, you're right. Yep. The next 2 Mondays we have streams.
Well, if I'm not driving all the way down to Miami, I'll come
well,
visit.
Hey, turn it on and listen to it on the radio and transport it if you can. And there's the link. JT said this here, right here, for this, the link to see Mark's. And yes, Lisa, everybody I don't mean to rip off other people, and I don't like to do it, but if you can just type an MMM in the chat for our friend Masters, let him know you're thinking of him, and just prayers for him, and keep him in your thoughts, prayers. And if you want to make contact with him, get in touch with me, and I will get you the information where you can drop him a note directly yourself. So, MMM. Absolutely. It is so good to see you tonight, my friend. It truly is.
Yes. A pleasant, very, very awesome surprise. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, all right. And hopefully, if you're still up, Masters, meet us over in half an hour. I got to go eat some spaghetti that Aang made a few days ago, and threw some chicken in it, so get some food.
Heat it properly, Dadman.
Oh, it's already
cooked. Want you getting sick.
It's already cooked. Yeah, I'm not supposed to get sick on Friday nights. Get sick on Sunday night so you don't have to go to work on Monday. But hey,
exactly.
Exactly. And that note, everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for all that you do. We will see you next time, and bye all.
Nadia.
Bye, everybody.